I ask creators the kind of questions HR would definitely approve of. Then I throw in a few wildcards just to keep them guessing. This week's guest is...
PrimeTime Mitch. And I'm not PrimeTime Mitch, but I know someone who is. Hello.
Hi, Matt. I'm glad to be fitting the culture today.
Well, you are welcome. For the people who haven't seen this before, who may be coming over from your channel, the first half of this is really using questions that I would ask going into businesses and schools to see where you fit. But I'm going to look at YouTube as like a job and kind of see how I learn all about your wonderful channel. The second half, sort of more off the wall questions where we just kind of go off piste. So I'll start off with, tell us a little bit about your channel and what inspired you to start it.
Well, I've always had a big love of movies in general, but a lot of the time it's been horror. I've got a big passion for horror, so I wanted to talk about it. And I found that gradually, out of all my interests, this is a one that never sort of sold out or lost my interest or went in a direction I didn't like. I've always enjoyed movies, and I've always enjoyed the variety of content there is out there for people, be it horror, drama, action, and there's something for everybody in the movie industry, and especially in the horror with the subgenres, there's something for everybody there. So I wanted to talk about it, and PrimeTime Mitch was something. It's a big experiment. I completely cut my life off and started again with this channel, and I made sure that it was known as the channel for the average movie lover, because I am not, freely admit, I am not a scholar of movies. I don't have degrees. I've not written an essay on a film in my life. I've never left a sticky note inside a book or anything, much contrary to my partner who's done all of that. But I just wanted to be a voice for those that just enjoy movies, and provide a little bit of insight that keeps it interesting without it being like like a lecture or something. But I just wanted a normal movie channel with a lot of different content, and maybe some stuff you'd never watched or seen before that never got highlighted or any mainstream.
That's nice to kind of remove any sort of pretentiousness and just, kind of share a passion. I think that those are the best channels, the ones that I follow the most, where people are, it's very clear that they love to talk about the things that they're talking about. It's not they're not kind of, like you said, it's not just trying to tick a box. It's that's really interesting. So does that kind of match your personality then? Does your channel match your personality in the sense of you have these big passions in terms of genre films that you like, or things that, does the channel follow your interests very closely then?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the more personable you are and the more relatable you are, the more people tend to gravitate towards watching your stuff. I've watched some of my older videos when I first got going, and because I'd never done this before, I've realized how sort of I'm a little bit wooden in it. I'm kind of sort of, I feel like I'm reading from the auto cue, and I sort of relaxed it a little bit, and I've become sort of more animated over time when I talk, and less sort of deer in the headlights. But I do think now is probably the best example of me. When you watch a video on my channel, it's kind of like you're talking to me in a pub or something. That's how I will present it.
Yeah, that's great. That's similar to what people I've seen this so many times, and in so many different environments, people saying like every time you do something, the aim isn't like to be radically different every time, but just to improve 1-2% and look to just add something to what you're doing. And I try and stick to that. And then sometimes I find I get frustrated and I think, I've slipped back. It's not as good as this one, and But you can get in your own head a little bit too much with creating videos, I think. It's if you're like kind of wanting to stay true to yourself, do you ever look at things like trends and say, oh, this video, people seem to have really liked it, I'm gonna do 5 like that? Or is it more a case of, I want people to follow me on my journey, and these are the things I'm into now, and I'm trying to find that balance a little bit more?
That's quite a good question, because sort of one is, how quickly do you want to be really, really successful and really noticed? Or do you want to do things the way you want to do them because that's what you want out there? Because it could be very easy for me to just copy everybody else because it's successful. Oh, that person's got thousands of likes because they do this certain type of video every week. But I'm just being somebody else then. So, for example, and this is pretty, I'm glad you've asked that question, actually. I'd done a video of, I think it was a ranking of all the Halloween movies, the whole franchise, and it did really well. And my next plan, the next video in my schedule was to do a classic film review of a movie from the 50s. And it was quite obvious that that one wasn't going to get blasted with likes and views, but I stuck to it because that's what I wanted to get out there. And I think if you start veering off somewhere else, your plan's gone out the window. You know, I want to stick true to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've been in a similar situation where I really I love horror, and the channel is mainly horror based. But I've gone in lots of different directions over the 3 or 4 years that I've been doing it. And the videos that I've always took off the most of when I was talking about the Confessions films, the Robin Asquith films.
Yeah.
And I did quite a few videos and edits and different things like that. And you know, if I wanted things to, because I'll give you a really stark example. So I did a horror video that got like about 12 views, and then I did a Confessions video that got 125,000 views, and I was like, that's my watch hours sorted. That's like lots of engagement. People are going, oh wow, thanks for doing this. It's something I've been loving since the 70s, and I'm like, yeah, it's great. I really do. However, that's not going to be every video I make. And even some of those I've actually deleted just because I don't think it reflected my voice as much as just kind of, it wasn't adapted enough. So I get what you're saying. And I think when you're starting out and you've got that mindset, it's probably easier, because it's harder if you know that something is absolutely done incredibly well, and then to still do the thing, that might not, but you really love it, and that's what matters.
I try and mix them as well. So, for example, I've got this new thing now where I do a top 5 movies of the month, but the movies I've watched, not new releases. So it could be, you could have like Weapons, for example, from like last month, but then number 3 in the list will be, I don't know, Naked Gun or something like that, because I've watched those films. And then I did a countdown. Now, this is where I sort of want to be a bit different to everyone else. My countdown was a mixture of recent films I watched in the cinema, but then in the middle it'd be like, well, the other day I was bored and I watched Carry On Cowboy. So that goes into the list, and it's such a mix. So you never know what you're going to get. It's not like you can't predict what's going to be in this list. And that's off my Letterboxd. I tend to try and promote that as well. But yeah, I think it's important to have just a little bit of yourself in there rather than trying to adapt.
Oh, totally, yeah. Because I know that there's quite a lot of people who will watch the horror things who are like more vocal, and then it's quite weird. But then again, sometimes exposing people to things they've never seen before is part of the fun. So I had a couple of my friends from America, and we watched No, we didn't watch Carry On. We watched Confessions of a Window Cleaner, and they were just absolutely like awestruck with it. I'm not sure whether they liked it or they didn't, but it was good fun. We had like a really good laugh. And I was thinking, as you're saying that, it's a bit like when people make movies or actors choose a movie and they go like, I'll do one for the studio and then I'll do one for myself. And it's a little bit like that. Like, I'll do one that I know people really want to see, and then I'll also talk about something that I think probably nobody else is going to like other than me.
I like opening people's eyes to new things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that leads into my next question, really, because when I ask cultural fit questions in the workplace, there's often people I try and give people ways of describing themselves based upon like if they're organizers, whether they like to kind of group things together, whether they're like entertainers or like to try something new, be innovators, or whether they like to sort of lead and go like kind of build a community. And I guess that works with YouTube as well. Do you see yourself in any of those roles, like as a entertainer, an organizer, or a leader, or like how do you have you ever thought about what your role is in terms of your YouTube journey?
It's certainly not an organizer. I'm grossly disorganized. I'm working on it, but I wouldn't say it was that. Can't stand the term influencer, so it'll never be that. I think an informative entertainer.
Yeah.
Because you're giving people your perspective. You are giving people new things to watch and look at and find and discover. And so that's your informative side, but you're doing it in a way that engages and interests people enough so that they will take your advice, take your recommendations. So I think that's the best way I can put it, really.
Yeah, no, that from looking at your channel, and I always try and like look at all of the videos on everyone's channel when I'm interviewing them, so I can kind of see that, the things that they're saying and see how that kind of fits in. And I would agree with that. You're not just like saying I like this. You're going, here's some things that maybe are a bit off the wall, and here's some things that are quite mainstream. These are what I like and why, and you're kind of entertaining and informing people a little bit, and not necessarily just doing here's this week's new releases, and just kind of listing them off. So. You talked a little bit about how you changed your style as you go along and how you address the camera. Is that, do you kind of have a certain type of energy that you want to bring to each video now that's kind of set in stone, or does it depend on what you're talking about?
I basically, at first, I was speaking as if I was talking to millions. So I was like, almost like I said, I had an auto cue in front of me, which would help that. So I would say, right, there's a whole massive audience here. I'm going to address them all. I've stopped doing that, and I'm starting to talk to one person. Just imagine there's one person behind the camera, and you're going to talk about this movie you've just watched. And I think that's helped me not only with reviewing films because they're a bit more interesting to watch now, I look less robotic, but also it helps me with sort of interviews and things. Like I've spoken to independent directors and people like that to try and push their material. I become a more confident interviewer as well as a reviewer. So I think just shrinking that imaginary audience has made a world of difference.
Yeah. Has anyone ever kind of, because I'm always interested in because people are flicking through things so quickly now. Has anyone ever kind of misunderstood what you were trying to put across in either a video or what the channel was going to be about? I've maybe had people, like, for example, I've had somebody who was like, I really like your channel, but when you were doing this review, the language was terrible and I was very offended, and and then it went into this big diatribe, and it kind of, I'll change depending on what I'm talking about, and I kind of explain, that it's your choice to watch the video or not. But have you ever had that where somebody's kind of come to the channel and maybe expected something different? Have you ever had any misunderstandings or any kind of random things that have occurred and you thought, this is not what I intended, or something like that?
Not yet, but I hope so. Because that means it means I've done well. It means I'm getting more popular and more noticed, because that's the thing. Criticism doesn't come if nobody knows you're there. But if you've got a following and people start giving you like the negative side of social media and the negative side of the commentary on videos, then it means you're actually reaching people. I think I've never really had it. Yeah, I've never had it, but I think as well, it was interesting you mentioned the language. And so what I decided to do when I first started this channel is I decided I'm going to beep every time I swear. I'm going to beep it out, because I'm just starting out and I want this to be accessible to everybody. And then if I go on somebody else's channel, such as this or anyone else's, or any podcasts that I go on, and I'm a little bit more colorful in the way I speak, it's almost like you're getting a different side of me. It's a bit of an eye opener, and all this. It just puts like variety in you. You're not just like this one-dimensional person. It's like, oh, I saw him on this channel and he was a bit more risque with his words than he is on his own channel. So I just think it's fun to do that. But I've never had that yet. But like I said, if I do, then great.
Yeah, I've had a few back and forths over the last few years, and I've always enjoyed the debate, and I don't mind if people come at it from a respectful point of view, and I'll answer in a respectful way. You know, if it's just full on negative, then I just don't take it on.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like, I'll take negative criticism with a reason, like with some sort of backup. You know, if you don't like me, then I've not made you watch the video. So don't watch it. Like, it's fine. I can do without that one view. And the interesting thing I found as well about the feedback side of things is, like, sometimes occasionally you get like 3 or 4 paragraphs from somebody and it's so informed and it's so much more eloquent than what I've actually said in the video. I'm like, this has taught me something. I've learned something. And those are really do kind of, I really do appreciate that. I think that's a really good side to YouTube, even though I think it's a harder medium to get people to watch things on. The people that you get who do connect with it are usually very kind and very thorough about what they talk about in your comments and in your channel.
Actually, Matt, I'm glad you brought that up, because I have had comments where people have sort of gone, well, the thing about this film is, if I've like maybe given it some sort of negative review or spoke somewhat negatively about it. Thing is, with this film, it is, and I've got this lengthy, like 2-3 paragraphs of information on why the movie was like this, why the director decided this, that. And I'm like, that's great. More of that. You know, I don't mind that kind of thing. To be honest, I don't get, like I said, the only negatives I get at the moment are little men that can't handle the fact that I wear eyeliner.
Right.
That's the only thing. I don't get any discredit for my reviews ever.
That's
not yet. Anyway.
I mean, it's funny because I did a couple of videos about I guess they had like issues within the film that are quite hot button things, but I don't tend to be. I watch a film and judge it on its merits and not really have any like, I want to listen to people and I want to have a discussion with people. But I want it to be in a comfortable, safe environment. So I don't want to be thrashing out stuff that, to be honest, I wouldn't want to. I'm not that bothered about discussing in my real life. And the weird thing is, the only people who have been particularly spiky, and I kind of get this more, have been like, so Hammer didn't like me discussing some of their negative reviews that they had for Dr. Jekyll. The director of Sacred Flesh, I gave it like a really good review, but I was like, I wish this was directed by Stuart Gordon because I'm such a massive Stuart Gordon fan. However, he's no longer with us, blah, blah, blah. The director was kind of like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not Stuart Gordon, which I can't. And he was like, my mum really liked it. And I was a bit like, that's okay, mate. Like, I don't have to like your movie. No, not many people are watching this review. Lots of people do like it. I didn't think it was that bad. So I don't know. I think there's a range of people with thinner skins and thicker skins, and I don't mind. I don't mind what people are saying as long as they're saying it in a way that is kind of conducive to a conversation,
constructive, or
I like the conversation. So, like, how do you want viewers to feel after they've watched one of your videos? What's your ideal kind of scenario if they've watched one of your videos and they've just, you know, took off the phone or switched it off the telly? Like, how do you want them to kind of walk away from watching one of your videos, do you think?
Well, initially when I started doing this, when I watched reviews on YouTube, the reason I watched them was because I liked to have something there to look at and listen to while I was washing up. So it wasn't I was doing it because I wanted content to take in to make monotonous tasks more fun. I never really thought about how I went away and thought about it. Now I do. And really all I want is for people to sort of say, I bring up a movie that not many people really know about. Like, I'll just throw an example out there for the sake of it. I love the 2003 horror Dead End with Lynn Shay and Ray Wise. And I mention it as many times as I possibly can. I did it in a Christmas. I think it was top 5 Christmas horrors or top 10 Christmas horrors, and that's in there because not many people ever talk about it. So so for example, my takeaway in that for somebody would be, you go away and watch that movie and then come back to me and go, oh, by the way, I watched that movie that you mentioned and this is what I think. I think that's the best thing that I could hope for, is that I have, again, I don't like the word, but I have influenced somebody to try something new.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, like inspiration to give something a go. It's hard. That's the hardest thing. Like, especially like I found with friends over the years. Like, if I said to them, watch my channel, they won't. If I say to them, watch this movie, they won't. But equally, I have a friend who's knows so much about film. He studied film. He knows his stuff. He recommends films to me all the time. Whenever we meet up, we both fire films at each other, and I know that there's a very small possibility that he'll watch the ones I suggest, and there's a very small possibility that I'll watch the ones he suggests. And sometimes I do find my way to them, but it's weird. It's kind of like you want to find it yourself, so it's just dropping a seed, and then that seed might blossom, or they might just go, no, not for me. It's weird. It's strange. It's almost like those closest to you, you're less likely to listen to than you are somebody you don't know on a video.
Yeah. To be honest, what I've tried stage in the first couple of years of doing this is, first of all, I want to prick up the ears of the people that are interested in the stuff I'm talking about. So, for example, I'll go on X and I'll type in the name of a movie, like an obscure movie, maybe from like 1986 or something. And I will look through the posts and there'll be people there going, just watch this one today. Does anybody know of it? And I will comment, go, well, I've just dropped a review on this, or I've just thrown this in my top 5 for the month. Check it out. And I think once you've got the attention of the people that are interested, then you can start spreading out to maybe grabbing people who weren't interested before but might be now.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. They might, arrive at your channel for one thing and then kind of go away with something, something completely different. Yeah, totally. No, I get that. And I think that is also because a lot of the people I collaborate with, when we watch movie parties and watch parties and things together, sometimes it's like, let's try and watch the worst movie we can find, and that often is for me, like I've said this all along, this is my dream job, would be to be on Mystery Science Theatre and just be one of the bots just riffing a movie and sort of making fun of a movie in the kind way, like it's difficult to make a movie, but what I guess what I'm saying is, when it comes to like collaborators and people that you've kind of connected with, how have you kind of negotiated those waters? Because I know that for every interviews slightly different, but certainly working with other people who have other channels, I would say I've had a pretty good ratio of like awesome person to not awesome person. How about you?
Well, to be honest, I try and get some kind of interaction on social media and things before I invite somebody on, just so that I know the camaraderie is there and I'm not going in blind, and vice versa. But often I bring people on who are obviously on the verge of doing very well because they make very good content. I brought a couple of people on from my social media, like Lena Frankenstein and the Jigsaw Killer. We talked about the movies that they love, and I found, because they were super fans of the series, you can have some great discussions because they passionately talk about it, and they've got a good reach as well, and people can notice you off the back of that, and you're also pushing, something they deserve to be seen if they're so passionate about something that they dedicate every day to it. So I'm careful with that, but then there's the other thing where people come to me, and it's usually the independent film directors. I've interviewed 3 in recent months, 2 in very quick succession recently. One we did a Ron Barrow, which was a boxing movie with absolutely no budget whatsoever. So I was very keen to hear about that, and I don't tend to review independent movies the same way as I do the bigger ones, because I'm more interested in the idea, not as much the quality. So they're always fun. But they're people that come to me, and I've got to watch that movie and make sure I'm okay with discussing it. Then there's the shots in the dark, and that's how I got Jeffrey Reddick on the channel, and John Massari, the Killer Clowns composer, and people like that. Those are the ones I sort of go for myself, because I know that's a big deal. But in terms of just general like content creators like me coming on here, I usually go for the ones that I have a good relationship with on social media. It's never just, hey, come on my channel, I noticed you're popular.
Yeah, I think the only time I've ever gone on or had somebody on my channel, and I'll tell you who it is. No, and I kind of hadn't done my, I hadn't
Homework.
kind of, yeah, my homework. I'd watched his videos and I'd really liked them, but I got like a kind of persona, like an antagonistic persona that was, it wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. And I was like, if the, my thing really, certainly since probably my entire 40s has been, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And particularly if it's something you do from your own free will, like, you know, nobody's making me go on YouTube. So that was the only time. But generally, it's been the exact opposite of what people told me it would be like. Like most people, like yourself, lovely, personable, friendly people, great interactions, love the movies, just want to have a chat about it, usually have a great sense of humor. And nothing makes me happier than saying, "Hey, check out this channel." And that's kind of why I'm doing this this series as well, because you know it's great interviewing, and I've interviewed people who I would genuinely say are my heroes, like Ted Nicolau, who Terrorvision is probably one of my favorite films of all time, and he's just such a lovely guy. And we're always in contact. That's great, but I'm probably more proud of like the actual friendships from people coming on. So it's the exact opposite of what people told me YouTube would be like. And I think maybe people have gone off videos about you know, sort of negative comments or things like that, and they're like, oh, it's a cesspit. And that helps you keep motivated. So I'm interested in what helps you keep motivated, like to keep posting videos. I read somewhere that most people tend to stop their YouTube channels after about a year. Just by the by, teaching, most teachers tend to last about 3 years, so I'm doing all right. But but I'm doing about 20. I'm on about 20. But but yeah, in YouTube life, you know, a couple of years is a long time. How do you keep that motivation going?
I think a lot of motivation is lost, and I get this because I feel it sometimes. Because not everybody has a good day every day. Sometimes you can feel a bit more negative than you like to feel, and I think a lot of times people, I'm guessing, give up on this because of comparison. They'll go, you know, why can't I get this many viewers when this guy dances in his bedroom and gets 100,000? You know, you start thinking like that, and it's like an injustice kind of thing that's buried in my head. You know, I think it's something that everybody has. I think if you don't think like that and you just do what you do for fun and enjoy it, then you've ticked the first box. And then I think everything from then on, if you can enhance it and get more people to share what you're doing, you've still got your enjoyment factor there. Like you said before, if you don't enjoy it, what's the point in doing it? You know, and I just, there's so many films that have been made in the history of time that this is an endless thing. You know, I don't need to stop doing it. There's so many more things I can do. So my motivation is basically just enjoying it. And then if I meet people along the way and I get a foot in the door somewhere, you know, then great. But it's endless, this kind of job. And as long as you keep enjoying it, there's no reason to stop doing it. And that's my motivation, really.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there with the comparison thing, because, you know, it's a cliche, but comparison is the thief of joy. And honestly, I see that as when the rot sets in so many workplaces that I go into, which is like, I get that this person's getting this, why aren't I getting that? This person's doing this, why aren't I doing that? This person seems happier than me, has this, has that, has the other, and it really does take all the joy away. And like, I'll give you a really good example. You know, I've got a couple of really good friends on YouTube, and a couple of them have interviewed people who are my absolute heroes. So my friend is today, when we're recording this, interviewing David Zucker, who did Airplane. Airplane is like my favorite comedy movie of all time. I absolutely love Zaz, everything about them. Now, I can honestly say, hand on heart, because it's such a lovely, Gareth's such a lovely guy, guys. By the time this is out, it will be live, so go and watch it. Because Gareth's such a lovely friend, I'm just as happy that he's interviewing him as I would be if it was myself. Now, I could be like, but it's my hero, you know, like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, the same with Brian Yuzna. I've had 2 friends interview Brian Yuzna, and I'm like, oh man, I like Society is just an incredible film. I love Society. I love the Silent Night, Deadly Night that he did. I love anything with bugs and weird stuff in it. And I'm just, but like, I could definitely use comparison as a way of ruining that experience of me watching my friends be successful.
But that's how you change your. That's how you sometimes end up changing and trying to be something different. Like, well, how are they doing this? What are they doing? You know, I'm going to do that. But you committed to doing this and being you, not them. And that's how that starts happening as well. And then, of course, if you don't do as well as them, doing the same as them, then that's the complete motivation killer.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the questions was going to be, what would you not compromise on? But I think you've talked about that so much and so well and so eloquently that I think that I would like to ask you more about the creative process and like whether it's editing, scripting, choosing what you do, the visual side, the audio side. Is there a part of the process that feels more you, that you enjoy more than anything else, like of making a video? What's the Mitch part of that you enjoy the most?
I've always loved the editing because I'm a very creative person. I'm not an absolutely brilliant editor. I mean, some of the tools on these programs just baffle me. I've never done a course on it or anything. I think I started to do a media course in college when I was like 19, and then I just picked it up and learned it myself. And for the last few years, I forget how old I am sometimes. The last 2 decades, I've been editing a lot of different kinds of videos, like be it comedy or just silly ones for myself. And I love the editing process. I love creating things. I liked doing silly things before my videos to promote them. Like when I was talking about Final Destination, I made a contraption in here where something fell off the wall and landed on something else, and then the computer blows up and stuff, and it was all just my own creation. I just that's the side of me. That's me, the editing part. I haven't got anybody to do it for me, so it's just a case of timing my day as well and organizing, and then I'll sit in front of the edit suite all day and complete things. And that it's more that than it is the presenting. I'm enjoying more now, because that's the meat and veg of it. But the actual creation is on the computer, and then that's what I'm most proud of, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes when I've been like mentoring teachers, and because there's a lot of stand-up comedians come from teaching, and one thing like people used to always say to me as a negative, like, oh well, he's good, but he just likes standing in front of people and talking, and he thinks that's what teaching is. However, my argument with that is, yes, that person might have that, but that's a really hard thing to do. Yeah. It's just as important to engage people with that than it is to have all the subject knowledge in the world, because you can learn that morning and deliver it. But the personality and the engagement and getting people on board is the really hard bit. And sometimes people find that difficult to accept if they don't have that side of their personality. So it's where maybe comparison and bitterness creeps in. So like YouTube wise, like you say, there's a real sitting at a computer for hours, editing it together, and it helps if you enjoy that. But what people don't tell you is that like sometimes it is a bit scary to be sat in front of a screen. And like I definitely, it benefited me knowing that when I did my first couple, literally nobody was watching. Like I had one person watching on a live, and I was like, oh, it was me and my friend were on, one person watching on live, and I was like, oh cool, one person's watching. Didn't realize it was me on the television, so there's literally nobody watching. So I'm like, that in a way is good, because I've just kind of become more comfortable with it over time. There's these sort of transferable skills, and it is just a case of putting the hours in like anything else. So I'm interested. I'm really not surprised, but like not many people talk about how much they love the editing process. So that's fascinating. That's really good. And now's a really good time if there's anything coming up on your channel that you want to just quickly tell people about, or not quickly, but take as long as you want. And I'll put up the channel, and what's happening with PrimeTime Mitch at the moment?
Well, like I mentioned before, I've been doing a lot of interviews with people recently, just because I like a bit of variety. I like to make people aware of who's doing great things out there that maybe isn't being spoken about. So at the moment, I think the next thing that's going on is I actually did an interview with a horror author, just to try and because I like to talk about the difference between writing and then the transfer to the big screen, and what the movie what's the word, inspiration is, and things like that. So I've actually spoken to a extreme horror author, like a splatterpunk author before now. Yeah, and now I've got a new one coming up. It's going to be Don Campbell. He's done some great little horror stories, and I've had the privilege of being given the opportunity to read them. So that's going out next. I'm also going to be speaking to Cody Leach, the movie reviewer on YouTube, some excellent horror content. And he's the reason why I started doing this, because
cool.
He's my inspiration. Don't think he knows that, but I will mention it. I've also
that's amazing. That's
it's
so
cool,
nice,
isn't it?
You get to do that.
Yeah, and I've also got I'll have another monthly review at the end of September. Top 5 watches of the month. That doesn't mean, like I said, doesn't mean new releases. It means anything I've watched. And I've started doing a countdown from, say, I watched 19 movies last month. I did a countdown from 19 to 6 of August, and then the top 5 went on YouTube. So the 19 to 6 is on the social media channels, on Instagram and TikTok and things like that. And then the top 5 goes on YouTube. And then I think once we've moved house, I'll be looking to do some more mockbuster viewings with my partner Amy. We watch a extremely daft, low budget movie, like your Sharknado kind of things, and we'll get the popcorn out and we watch those and have fun with those. So that'll be coming up. But there's going to be a significant gap. This place won't be seen again, and then hopefully I can get going in an even better environment. But yeah, I've got plenty of stuff going on social media in the meantime. I do little short videos of random movies that I've seen or have caught my eye in the month. So I keep putting stuff out, but my YouTube has been very good recently, and there'll be at least another 3 or 4 before I leave this place.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, those all sound really exciting. And that's so good that you get to kind of connect with somebody that's kind of inspired you as well. So yeah, that's really, I'll be tuning into that. I'm not aware of Cody Leach, but then again, I'm not aware of a lot of things because I'm just so out of the loop with anything popular, I suppose. I don't know. But including myself. But I would say, yeah, I'm going to check that out. I'll check out his channel, and I'll be checking out all the things that come up on your channel. Now is the time where we go off piste a little bit. So we'll be right back after these messages. So I'll so normally I'm so smooth. I just go, and right about now. But I wasn't smooth. I was useless. However, these will be wonderful. So we have 1,001 emergency questions from the great Richard Herring. This is the least original thing I do on the channel because it's somebody else's questions. However, I've started using quite a lot of them and adapting them, so they're more mine now than his. So you can sue me, Richard. And then I've got some would you rather questions as well. You can't see that because of the background, because I'm also changing my background at the moment, making a little mini cinema behind me. So
I love that background.
Oh, well, so the Scotch videotape has been with me from the beginning of the channel because my friend made the Pugwall 316 logo, and everything in my channel is based on that. So I was like, because I'll let people in behind the curtain a little bit. Let me just see. So I try lots of different things because I don't stay with things for long. So I currently have this bulletin board from an old cinema, and because I've got lots and lots of posters, I'm going to kind of have it like I got the inspiration from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where I was just watching when Margot Robbie's character is walking in, and she just had the old posters and lobby cards, and then it just says coming soon with a sort of stick on letters on the thing, and I was just like, I'm going to have that behind me. So yeah, so that's why I got my Scotch videotape behind me at the moment. But anyway, moving on. Any number between 1 and let's say 1 and 990, because I know the last 10 are not that great.
$803.
803. So my last guess stayed really low, so that's good. Not that it matters, because
Got to aim high.
yeah, you have. You gotta go. So, okay. Which celebrity would be the worst choice to play which pantomime character? So you've got to choose a celebrity and a pantomime character, and the two of them would be together would be the worst.
Wow.
I've got so many inappropriate answers to this, but
yeah, there are a few. This is where your chopping editing comes into play.
Live and uncut, my friend. Live and uncut.
Pantomime character that has got a grossly inappropriate celebrity in its casting.
Yeah. So, for example, I don't know. It might just be somebody you know. Well, I was going to say it could be, just somebody you don't like, or it could just be something where they don't quite. So it could be maybe. See, all I can think of is either cancelled people who are dead, or close to death, or politicians. Neither of which I really want to give as an example. But I mean, guess somebody like, say, Donald Trump as an ugly sister would be like the
one that
example.
came to my mind was Boris Johnson as the fairy godmother.
Yeah, he just rambled on, wouldn't he?
And I wouldn't expect any enchantment or magic to come from
lots
him.
of promises.
So, yeah, too many false promises. You can wave your wand all you like, mate.
Yeah, this is the most political I've ever been on the channel. So,
I'm not political at all.
I know I'm not either. It's quite funny.
I was trying to be snappy.
yeah. I guess I don't think we're going to come up with anything. Maybe we'll come back to that one, because all I can think of is like different characters from movies. Maybe. I mean, but then they'd be good. Like, say, for example, if I was thinking of Carry On people like Kenneth Williams, he could be anything in a pantomime. He'd be amazing, and he probably was.
I don't know how good of buttons he'd make.
Yeah,
personally.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I'm having when he plays a sort of the closest he does a romantic lead is Carry On Emmanuel, and in that one he just looks ill and sad.
I hate that movie with
a grim film. Yeah,
passion.
Yeah, it's the worst of the bunch. Even worse than
Columbus,
the last one, the Columbus. Yeah, I'm so good to say. I so wanted to say Cleopatra then, and I was like, no, actually, that's a good one.
God no,
right? Yeah. My favorite is Carry On Abroad, by the way, if anybody's asking.
Fantastic. It's mine as well.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
We should do a watch party of Carry On Abroad. That would be awesome.
I do a passable Kenneth Williams impression as well.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, no.
That's really good. My friend Steve, who's he's famous for doing Spitting Image. He in his Ghost Stories book that we've done a podcast that's on the channel. There's a whole story from the 12 stories that's from the point of view of Kenneth Williams, and it's in the audio book he will be doing that as Kenneth Williams. So I'll make sure to send you that when he's recorded them all.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes me embarrassed to do any impressions. He's so good. But yours, obviously, it's his job. But yours,
I'll send you a proper one. I've got videos of it.
Yours is amazing, by the way. It was really good. Okay, next number.
I'll go a bit lower this time. 219.
219. An excellent number. Right. Except I've not gone to it. Okay. 219. Okay, so the Daily Mail once ran 2 stories in a day on David Beckham and his wife taking their child on a walk in a pram. What is the most mundane event that you've ever read about in a newspaper article, or the most mundane event that you've ever seen reported on and thought, why do I need to know that?
God. Take your pick.
Yeah,
nearly every page. It was something like that. I think, in fact, actually, it could have been Beckham.
Yeah.
I think it was. It was when they were I think he got sent off in a pre-season match for United. So it was
Right.
no reason. It wasn't even what was it? It could have been the World Club Championships, that one they sent United off to go and do. And he got sent off in it. So it was a meaningless game. And the next day they said Beckham shows no remorse as he sits eating breakfast on the beach.
Wow. Man eats food shot.
Man eats breakfast in the morning
wow.
and doesn't sit in the corner rocking in with the curtains shut. You know, it's
beating himself up and crying. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah. There's so many like that. I strangely find really boring stuff quite entertaining. At the moment, with to keep to the football theme, now my wife spotted this, so I have to give her credit for this. Is the way that football deals are structured now a lot. There's either like an option to buy or an obligation to buy.
Yeah.
The word obligation is being used like 5 times in one sentence, and all this they're just making one very, very like simple point, which is obligation means you have to do it. And I was just like, come on, how stupid do we think people are?
They always try and find a way of making, well, they don't, because they fail in my eyes, but they try and create a title that makes this very uninteresting happening seem like something we absolutely must be aware of. You know, it's certainly the gossip columns and things like that, which I wouldn't look at if I had matchsticks in my eyes. But it's the things like, you know, this person oozed class as they stepped out of their apartment this morning. So you basically, it's a story about them stepping out of the door.
I've seen so many of those that are like, you know, they dazzled in their new dress, or they stuns in his suit going out for a meal. It's just like a bloke going to Nando's or whatever, and you're like, okay, right. And that's be better.
It worries me.
Media.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's move on. That's good. I think the conversations that we're having are better than the answers to the questions.
They are the answers.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Okay, we'll do a couple more of these ones.
Number. Well, why not? 316.
316?
Absolutely. Okay. Stone cold time.
Well, goddamn, son. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, so another strange one that kind of ties in with the pantomime one, says, why do you think the fairy godmother only gave Cinderella all the magic stuff until midnight? Why didn't she just let her keep them forever, or at least make them last till the morning so she didn't have to run away from the party?
Because she's unpleasant.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think maybe for her own amusement. You know, I'm gonna put a cap on this so you don't, you know, get above your station, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the fairy godmother's not getting any joy out of this, really, is she? As such.
No, there are always these rules with things, isn't there? In these stories, obviously, we know there's narrative reasons for these things, but there's always kind of rules with things. Like one of my favorite films is It's a Wonderful Life. But, you know, Clarence is okay because a lot of the rules are given to him, and he has to deal with the rules given to him by the 2 flashing lights in the sky at the beginning and throughout. So, like, I accept that more than somebody who just decides to make things more difficult, like the fairy godmother, just because it's fun. So, yeah, she can.
Yeah, it's like a game, isn't it? You know, you don't need to make this difficult. I mean, said that. I mean, I love Clarence, but he did turn down a whiskey. So a free one.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Out you guys go, out the window. I watch it every.
You want to get drunk fast.
That's it. Yeah. we watch it every Christmas Eve, or we try to at the in Bowness at the theatre, at the cinema there, the Royalty, and we did it every year since we got married, and then last year it shut down. But they have. I'm doing a video about it soon. They've re-emerged, so I'm hoping that they'll do it again this year, because it's a film that makes me every year. It puts me in the Christmas spirit, and if I haven't seen it, then I'm just not in the Christmas spirit. So yeah, important. Okay, and he's a nice angel rather than that bitch, the fairy godmother. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, next number.
46.
46. Right. Okie doke. So, have you ever heard an incorrect rumor about yourself?
Wow.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know. I'm not that important.
I don't think I'm that interesting that anybody's made up a rumor about me. If they have, they've been very good at keeping it to themselves.
I think that in a job I used to do, like I was managing events and things like that, a lot of people said that they were afraid to approach me.
Oh,
which I thought was really strange because I didn't think I gave off that aura. So that's not a rumor, but it's like it's an opinion of you that you didn't know somebody had, or you don't know why they've got it. So that's close, because I don't think I've been rumored about like that. I've never really put myself in that position.
No, I think the closest I had that I was assessing a school, and as I was on my way out, it was a secondary school, and I think the head or the deputy head went, one of the kids had said, you look like a teacher from Hollyoaks. And I was just like, I was like, what do you mean? They were like, oh, well, where you were dressed and your hair and stuff. And I was like, it blew my mind. That's not a rumor as such as like a mind-blowing thing, because I was just like,
I'd be very upset if somebody said that to me.
Yeah, because I was like, I was probably in my early 40s then. And I don't think anybody over 40 is allowed on Hollyoaks, are they?
Not unless they're a serial killer or something.
Yeah, it's like this ancient man has come back. He's 42 and he's going to murder everyone. Yeah, so that not so much a rumor, but just a weird comment. Okay, we'll have another one, and then I've got to finish off. I've got some would you rathers.
500.
Normally, I'm going to try and get into the habit when I'm doing these before I ask them, before I go into the second half and do a Louis through and go, how's your energy? Are you okay? Are you all right to continue? How are you doing? How are you getting? Right. So how's your energy? Are you okay for another question? Are you all right?
Yeah. The trick is to like make that visually obvious.
Yeah.
if I'm slipping away, then you'll know about it.
Yeah. Wait. How are you doing? Yeah. Is this okay? Is this all right? Okay. So as a kid, many people travel abroad for the first time. Did you? And bearing in mind, I haven't, so I can't really answer this. I didn't. But do you remember learning any foreign swear words for the first time? Can you remember them, or have you got any stories based on learning bad words for the first time in this country or another?
I wasn't somewhere else, but the first thing that as a kid you knew what shit was in French.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that.
Yeah. That's true.
And I could swear on it, can I?
Yeah, of course you can.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, we're not in the we're not in the lobby now, right? I had a Portuguese friend that told me one that I wish I knew when I was a kid. Because as a kid, I only really knew that one because I was never really that bothered about knowing. I don't know. I was quite happy just to hear him in my own language. But the one that I wished I'd known as a kid, I forgive me if I'm wrong for any Portuguese listeners, but he said it was something like "um dia voot por tirar cara" or something. I probably pronounced that terribly and got it wrong altogether, because this was, I think he told me about 13 years ago.
Right.
But it means one day I smash your fucking face. Now, if I'd have known that as a kid, I could have defended myself in ways that nobody would have known about it. No teachers could have told me off or anything if I'd shouted it in the playground.
Yeah, it's unlikely, isn't it, that they would know it, because you might have a smattering of French and German. I have a relative who's fluent in Spanish, and even then, I don't think I know anything because I rely on them. It's strange, isn't it? But yeah, like Vu, I remember learning that at secondary school.
Yeah, you've just reminded me.
Yeah.
Scheisserhausen, that one.
Yeah. Oh,
in
yeah.
German. Yeah, that was good. I used to like that one.
Yeah. Scheisse. Yes.
Used to shout it down the corridors of school. Now you've said this, I've sort of, some of them have come back to me. So yeah,
it's all coming back to you now. Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting how those things come to, because there are formative moments in your life. Like, for me, it was more saying something accidentally, not knowing it was bad, and then being called out on it is absolutely like, it just crushes you, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize it was that bad. Yeah, I've definitely had that a couple of times, and that stayed with me more than the learning of them. For sure. Okay, so we've got some would you rathers. They're not numbered, so if I just flick through the book and you tell me when to start, we'll finish with 2 would you rather, or 1, depending on how good it is.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Go.
Okay. Okay. Would you rather be the inventor of a machine that could translate everything a baby was thinking and feeling into words, or an inventor of a machine that would make all teenagers polite and unselfish for an hour and a half every day?
Oh, God.
I feel this was written by somebody with a point of view.
I also feel like there's an element of selfishness in this answer, because the baby thing would be wonderful in sort of trying to get help for them quickly if they were in distress, which is a good thing and a really positive thing. But the other one would greatly reduce certain modern day tensions that needn't be there, and maybe they learn something in that hour and a half.
That's the hard part, because it's just an hour and a half.
Yeah, but it could make all the difference.
Yeah, true.
You get used to doing it for an hour and a half every day. By the time you're older, it's all day.
It's like a drip
right
feed.
For the good of mankind, I will say the second one. The first, just there needs to be better parenting and initiative being used there.
You're a hero. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes, so we'll do one more. That was a fun one. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Go.
Whatever you're. Okay. Oh my word. Right. This is interesting. Would you? Yeah, I don't think that's. I'm not going to do that one because it's so long. Would you? Okay, this is a good one. Retro. This is below the one you chose, but still. Which product that rebranded and changed its name would you rather see forced to go back to its original name? So for me, it might be Marathon. I don't know, maybe Marathon.
Yes.
But
Oh, anything.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because there'll be loads of people watching this who will go, "What's a marathon?"
Yeah, Snickers. Yeah. Oh God. Oh no. Do you know what? I bet I have a really good answer for this. I wasn't prepared. Because there's a lot. There's a lot of things I would like changing back to what they were. Right. This is a ridiculous one. It's not really a brand as much. Well, I suppose it is, because it was a giant rebranding. I want the Premier League going back to Division 1.
Oh wow. Yeah. Wow. And everything else would have to change then. So my team Stockport would be in Division 2 instead of Division. Yeah. Oh, would they? No, it would be in Division 3. Oh my word.
Basically, I just want the bells and whistles taken off it, going back to basics. Yeah.
Back to the 80s. Why not? So there's been some brand logo downgrades as well. There's some logos that we would have seen when we were kids that we really liked. For example, I used to quite like BT, British Telecom one, where it looked like a wire. Yeah. Obviously now everything's wireless, so it'd be pretty. It'd be actually,
you can
have a wired phone.
brand logos, you've got me thinking there. There's the beer, Bombardier.
Oh,
It was advertised by my hero, Rick Mail. And it had that beautiful sort of like medieval kind of sticker on it with the flag and everything. It looked like a really traditional beer, and they've changed it to some weird lettering, and everything's minimalized now rather than sort of thought going into
sleek
it.
And
so I'd change that. I'd also probably change Starburst back to Opal Fruits.
Oh yeah, Opal Fruits made to make your mouth water. Yes. That would be one. I agree with that. Also, Lucozade should come in like plastic paper, like plastic orange paper thing again. Because whenever I was poorly and we had Lucozade, it was really cool taking it out of the plastic. Yeah, there's loads of things like that.
Oh, I could go on all day about that with a bit of time.
We're going to end up doing Peter Kay. Do you remember when?
Yeah. All that about.
Do you remember Spangles? Right. So this has been so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Particularly going off piste a bit at the end. But hopefully the beginning part has allowed people who maybe not seen your channel before to engage with it, get involved, and just sort of, go and watch a video. And I just want to say thank you so much. Thanks so much for coming on. It's been an absolute delight. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Mitch.
Absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed it. It's nice sometimes just to talk about normal things and take the working head off for a little bit, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, totally. Thank you.